2Cantwist here, back at it again. So today, I want to talk about learner bikes, learner motorcycles. What are good bikes to get? What aren't? But first, I'm going to show you the 10R. So, it's 2006. I'm the second owner. It's a nice looking bike. So, I'm going to try not to say so much. So we're going to... Okay. We're going to talk about learner motorcycles. Good choices and poor choices. I'm also going to do a series on cruisers versus sport bikes. The main differences. And there are a lot of differences that some people just don't realize. Okay, so for a quick little blurb about cruisers and sport bikes. Cruisers are torque machines. V-twins, they're all about torque. They're to move weight, because cruisers are typically heavy machines compared to sport bikes. Also, they're more for a passenger, so you get a lot of bags and stuff all over the cruisers that weigh them down. And cruisers are a lot more comfortable to ride. For longer distances, cruisers are the way you want to go. Sport bikes, not really. I know I'm squidding it today, but it is hot. And I mean hot on a level that's just ridiculous. I live right next door to Quebec, and Quebec has a real good system for beginner bikes or for people trying to get their license. You can't start on anything over a 150cc. Now I know that kind of sounds sucky. So you're basically your first bike is a moped. It's actually quite funny. Over there you get all these moped gangs, which is, it's amusing. But the point is that they go staggered, like 125, 150, 200, 400, 500, 600, 1,000, so on and so forth. And that even applies for cruisers, not just sport bikes. The reason I'm talking about it is because they have something like 50% less accidents on motorcycles due to driver error than we do here in Ontario. So you might want to take that into account. For a beginner bike, start small. Wow, that would really suck to hit that. Oh, truck threw stone at me. Not cool. So anyways, learner motorcycles. I've been teaching people to drive motorcycles for about, I'd have to say about 22 years, 23 years, teaching people to ride motorcycles. Some of the best ways to learn to ride motorcycle before you get out in the street are dirt bikes. Dirt bikes just basically give you the understanding of what, how a motorcycle functions. If you need to learn more about how to operate a motorcycle, check my video here on how to drive a bike series. But I'm going to try and center this discussion about learner motorcycles. Best bikes to learn on. Okay? And I have a whole other discussion about 600s versus 1000s. And we'll save that for another video. For a learning motorcycle, by far, the best motorcycle I've ever used for teaching people how to drive a street bike, by far, is the Ninja 250. The Ninja 250, my girlfriend's had one. I've used them to teach people. They are a perfect motorcycle, and I'll give you an idea as to why. The Ninja 250, first of all, its riding position is conventional. It's not like a super sport like this machine, where your feet are behind you or slightly behind you, or a cruiser where your feet are in front of you. It's just your classic riding position. You're not bent over, and it has a whole pile of other great features. One of the biggest problems with learning motorcycles is either they're too big, too powerful, or too little and underpowered, and then you get things happening like the back tires are too skinny. You take the CBR 125, okay? It's got enough power to learn on for sure. I mean, you can learn on a 50cc. But the issues I have with it is, one, it's physically small. I mean, it doesn't teach you how to handle the weight of a motorcycle at low speeds in any way, shape, or form, because it's essentially like an e-bike. Those electric bicycles, there's no weight to it. There's no mass to it. The other problem I have with bikes like the CBR 125, and other manufacturers make them as well, is that the back tires, or the tires in general on them, are just too narrow, too skinny. I can remember older bikes I had, like the Kawasaki 400 4-cylinder H1s, and sure, they went like a bat out of hell. But the problem is their tires couldn't support heavy braking. You're always locking up and dragging that rear tire, no matter what you do. And that happens constantly on the CBR 125. Then if that does happen, then the person learning freaks out and usually lets go, and then they end up high-siding, which isn't great. Now, the Ninja 250 has beautiful tire size for a learner, and it's a fun bike. You're not going to have the big threat with a Ninja 250 of someone doing something like by accident and having that front wheel lift up on them. Because I've been teaching long enough, and now that I'm teaching for the colleges and the university, is that once people get into a panic situation on a motorcycle, they get into what you call target fixation, which means now the bike's out of control, and the first thing they do is focus on something. Usually it's an obstacle close or far away in the distance that they're petrified to hit, and their brain turns off. You know, target fixation is like the basis for a lot of horror movies, where you see somebody jumps out of the closet with an axe, and the girl stands there screaming instead of running. It's target fixation. They're so worried about what's coming at them that their mind seems to shut off for what to do about it. And the same thing happens with the motorcycle. We've chased people across the parking lot doing the Superman. The Superman is where their feet are dangling off. Sorry about that, I had to accelerate. This guy was coming around the corner pretty quick. It's where people's feet are dangling off the rear end, and they're hanging on to the handlebars and just twisting the throttle even more. You know, we've run across the parking lot after these guys screaming at them to use the clutch. And it doesn't mean they always listen. Little cop party there. We have President Obama coming in, and the Mexican president coming in to the Capitol today, so some roads are closed off and so on and so forth. So back to the learner bikes. I think a 600, especially a super sport like a ZX6, anything like that is just frankly too powerful for a learner. You don't want to put a learner in a position where a machine has enough power to wheelie on them, because you'll just scare them off for good. The Ninja 250 really doesn't have that kind of power. I mean, you would have to wind it right up and then dump the clutch, or do something horrifically stupid to get the front end up. You know, I've been able to wheelie a 250, but it took effort and skill. It's not something that you can do really inadvertently. I must have put about 10, 15 people onto the Ninja 250 as learners. Some still drive them till today. The Ninja 250 is a perfect city bike. There's no way around it. Now some people are going, what about the Ninja 300? Well, the 300 comes with a lot of gizmos and gadgets and features and all sorts of stuff. I personally think ABS on a motorcycle is nonsense. If you get to the point where you're relying on that ABS, frankly, you're beyond your capabilities. Or you're being a hooligan. One of the two. Excuse me. Wow. Found a bug. Yeah, chew the lumps. And the Ninja 300 isn't cheap. You could pick up a used Ninja 250 for like $1,200 in good condition with low mileage. And the good thing about the Ninja 250 is you can always turn them around and sell them. There's never a shortage of buyer for those bikes, ever. You know, they look like full-size motorcycles, and I think they're just perfect. Now, the downside of the Ninja 250, okay, the downside is it's a carbureted bike, which isn't the end of the world. Most things that I drive still have carburetors, except for this and the Raider, but all the dirt bikes have carburetors and so on and so forth, and that's fine. But a carbureted bike needs time to warm up, and the Ninja 250 takes a long time to properly warm up. It's just the way it's designed. I've had new riders with me drop their bike because they come up to a stop just after starting it for a couple minutes at home and go to turn, and the bike coughs and dies on them, and now without any momentum they just fall over. So that's the only downside to the Ninja 250. I believe the Ninja 300 is fuel injected, I would imagine, with the amount of technology that's on it. So my number one pick would be a Ninja 250. And it doesn't matter if you plan on being a cruiser rider or anything like that. The Ninja 250 is still the perfect motorcycle for learning, I believe. Now, other good motorcycles. Oh, and sorry, let me mention this, okay? The Ninja 250 is more than I'm sure I said it already, but is more than a capable bike for city driving. It's cheap on fuel, and there's a good amount of satisfaction driving it. Like, you have to get through those gears. You have to make her roar. Nice day. Traffic. I don't like traffic. When it comes to my second choice, older bikes, 400s, putting together an XS Yamaha Sika 400 for a buddy right now. I'll throw some pics at the beginning and after with it, so you guys can check it out and see what you think. Older bikes like that, older 400s, and some of the older 250s, as long as the tire size isn't too thin. They're great because they're cheap. As long as you don't go too old, they're very cheap to insure, and that's another thing about the Ninja 250. The insurance on it is, it's relatively a joke for new people. Or you can get an older machine. Kawasaki made 440s. Every manufacturer out there pretty much made a 400. Now, 400, you can lift a 400, but it still takes some effort. It's not a matter of simple clutch up and away you go. You have to be kind of stupid to get it inadvertently going up. Oop, green light. Keep the CCs down. And then there's that whole argument, well, once I learn I want a faster motorcycle. Well, sure. I mean, there's a time where everybody's going to want to have something to blip through, and everyone's going to want to have something they can have some fun with, and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, if you're talking pure transportation, a Ninja 250 will do you forever. If you want a little bit of thrill, sure, upgrade. But don't kid yourself. All these machines are way too fast for the street as it is. I can't use this bike's potential at all on the city streets. You can't even use a 600. I mean, my 20-plus-year-old ZX7R, you couldn't use its potential on the street. Sure, you can have a little blast here and there, but relatively speaking, you just can't use them to their potential. You know, you get involved with the police and everything else in between. It's, you know, sometimes it's really... it's not necessarily worth it. Like this 1000, I didn't need a 1000 any way, shape, or form. Even if I take it to a track, this thing's a bit of a brute. No, okay, I can see a Ninja 250, you know, in the end. All right, it's something with a little bit more oomph, especially once you've done the learning thing, and later on you want to bring a passenger. You know, my number one tip for today for learners: don't put someone else on your motorcycle, okay? At all. You have to learn how to control that motorcycle. And then, even then, you have to learn to control a motorcycle when your passenger does something you're not expecting, which does happen quite often. You know, with passengers, the rule is cheek. You know, keep your ass square on that seat and let the bike do its thing. You know, you get people that lean with you, and then you're trying to pick it up at a different time than they're expecting, and now you're having trouble lifting the bike. There's a whole pile of other things to passengers, but we'll get to that another time. Actually, I'm going to pull into the local Kawasaki dealer and check out the 300. They look awesome. I mean, absolutely awesome. There's no way someone's going to walk up and go, oh, you know, you drive a 250.